What's going on, everybody? Thanks for checking out another video here. If you're new to the channel, if you're not subscribed, if you're not liking the videos, please do so. It helps help support the channel, let it grow. For those of you that have been around for a while, I really do continue to be thankful for you guys' support. I enjoy seeing the comments and the questions, and the way that you guys help me out a little bit too, so I appreciate that. Just finished up having lunch with a buddy of mine, and we were talking a little bit about his business and my business, and just a couple of things that we were talking about made me think about some of the questions that I get from you guys every once in a while. And I wanted to share a little bit about the conversation that I had with my buddy with you guys. And really the main thing was kind of how scary it was getting started, right? So I was reflecting back on the 2 years that I've been in business, thinking back to what it was like when I was thinking about getting into business and kind of where I am now. So a lot of you guys watching my channel are probably, most of you are probably where I was a couple years ago. You're doing a 9 to 5, or you're working overnights. There's other opportunities out there for you. There's other ways to make money that doesn't involve clocking in. You see all these guys on YouTube washing houses and making money, and you want to get involved, but you're scared, right? It is scary. So I was scared too, and there are still times now where you get a little nervous, but every day that you do it, just like anything else in this world, it gets a little easier. And I was telling my friend that the scariest part of like running this kind of business, at least for me, has been done with for a year and a half now. The scariest part was sitting on the couch, watching the videos, thinking if I could do it, how am I going to market, what hoses am I going to use, where am I going to get my equipment, can I do this, how much money am I going to make? By the time you go out and do your first job, a lot of those questions are already answered. So if you're scared about getting started, if you're scared about getting into this kind of business, realize that those scary moments are going to be so small compared to the happiness and the joy that's going to come from actually doing it. The hardest part of doing something sometimes is just getting started. How many of us don't want to go to the gym, right? The worst part is getting out of the house, getting into the car, going to the gym. But once you get there, you have a good workout and you have a good time and you're glad you went. And for the rest of the day, you're like, man, I'm glad that I went to the gym. I'm glad that I went for a hike. I'm glad that I went for a bike ride. Whatever it is, you're glad that you did it, but it was tough to get going. And it's no different here. So now I'm coming down. I'm getting ready to, we're slowing down, closing out on our second season, right? This is my first full season. Last year I figured out my pricing. Last year I figured out my equipment. Last year I figured out my mailers, how I was going to do EDDM. Last year I figured out my pitch. Last year I figured out my timeline for jobs, how long it was going to take, how much chlorine I was going to use. Like, you figure all that out doing the work. You guys cannot figure that out before you start, right? So a lot of you guys want to have all the answers before you get going. You're not going to learn until you take the risk of getting the equipment in your truck and going to someone's property. Because on that first job and the second job and the fifth job, that's where you're going to learn and you're going to answer all these questions. Once you get through all that, and once you learn how to deal with the customers and everything I just rattled off, the hoses, the marketing, all that stuff, I don't have to think about that this year. All the equipment's in my truck. So when I show up to a job, I don't have to wonder if it's a Curatech hose, a 1/2 inch, 5/8, if it's got, it doesn't matter, it's there. That decision has already been made, it's already been paid for. If I'm rolling up to someone's house, I'm not curious about my marketing techniques, because my marketing has already got me there. And I've already given them a price which they've accepted. So I'm just here to do the job. Once you get through all that stuff, it gets really easy and it gets really enjoyable because everything goes on autopilot. So if you guys are thinking about getting into this line of work, you just have to get comfortable enough with being uncomfortable for a short amount of time. I've said this before in a few different videos, that I sat on the couch with my wife, Elizabeth at the time, She was my fiance, and I was nervous, and I had a list of things I wanted to buy. Some of it was from Home Depot, some of it was from like pressure wash outlets. I was buying hoses and reels, and I was like, man, I'm gonna have to spend $3,000 like in the next hour on my credit card to get this stuff coming in. You know, I need the tanks and blah blah blah, and the hoses and the roof snot, and marketing and stuff, and I was on LegalZoom creating an LLC. You have to spend a lot of money before you can get to that first job. And again, it's scary. After your first few jobs, you're like, all right, well, I've already paid for this, and I've already paid for that, and I've already like paid this off. And then a few weeks later, it's all paid off, and you're in the green, and a little bit of that fear goes down. And then it gets easier and easier and easier. You just have to decide if you're gonna do it, right? I have a few videos on how you can build a wash setup for like less than $3,000. And we can all do a lot of marketing for probably $500, right? So for $3,500, you guys can be in the first scary step. And then one or two things is gonna happen after you spend that $3,500, $4,000. You're either gonna be successful or you're not. So you're gonna pay off that $4,000 to get started, and you're gonna have a successful wash business, or it's not gonna be your thing, and you might have to sell some of that equipment, and maybe you get $2,500 back, or maybe Home Depot takes a tank back, and you walk away. Most of us, whether you are trying to better your financial position or not, are not gonna have to go bankrupt because we spent $3,500 and it didn't work out, or we spent $3,500 and we only got $2,000 back after it didn't work out. The hardest thing that most guys are going to have to face is swallowing their pride of it didn't work out for whatever reason. And if you can live with that, if you can live with, man, it just didn't work out in my area, it wasn't the kind of work that I wanted to do, I thought it was going to be something different, it's not for me, my area, my community just isn't going to support this kind of business yet. If you can swallow your pride of it not working, and you're not going to have your family eating lawn clippings because you spent $3,500, then you should look yourself in the mirror and say, what am I scared of? Because if those two things aren't going to happen, if you're going to be able to swallow your pride and you're not going to go bankrupt for taking a little risk, then you should all be able to get in this and just try it for yourself. I wouldn't quit your job right away. I did this part-time in my off time. I have a friend right now who's working full-time for a construction company, and on his weekends, he goes out and does soft wash. So if it doesn't work out for him, if he can't go full-time, well, at least he can make a few extra $1,000s a month, maybe burning a Saturday or Sunday, and he still has his full-time job with his benefits. I don't see that as a loss. If he decided that he doesn't want to burn his weekends, he's not making enough money to leave his job, it's just a hobby, whatever it is, and he's going to sell his equipment and maybe break even. He tried it. He didn't quit his job. He didn't go bankrupt. So there's a lot of different options. It's not black and white. It's not like it's either going to work or it's not. Like, there's a lot of different areas. Like, maybe you don't quit your job. Maybe you work part-time at it. But whatever it turns out to be for you, you can't let the fear stop you from doing anything. You can't keep it from letting you trying it. You can't let it keep you from exploring it. Again, if you get into it and it doesn't work out, like, that's one thing, but at least you got into it. At least you went and bought a cheap tank, a cheap sprayer tank from Home Depot or from Tractor Supply, and at least you went online and, you know, you got a couple mailers, or you sent out a couple ads on Facebook. At least you can be proud that you did that and it didn't work out. But, you know, don't let the fear cripple you so much that you don't even try. I think that the odds with this kind of work is more in your favor than starting any other business. I wouldn't be sitting here telling you to just go burn a little money and try it to open a bar, right? I mean, the success rate of a bar or a restaurant is a lot less, right? there are a lot of guys popping up with lawn care businesses, seal coating businesses, gutter cleaning, gutter installation, soft wash, snow plowing. These are all like low risk, man. Like the $3,500 it might take to start this is what some guys spend to like run their boat on the lake during the season, or to buy a snowmobile, or to store their, you know what I mean? Like, we all spend $3,500 a year and you don't even know it, you know, going out for a couple beers. All I'm saying is this endeavor is like the lowest risk and barrier to entry than like any other business in the world. I would assume. I was in the green in my first month. How many business owners can say that? You know what I mean? So I know a lot of guys are always asking, like, how do I get started? How do I market? When did you leave your job? Like, just, you got to figure it out on your own. But like, if you're willing to go out there and hustle with this line of work, the odds are in your favor. The odds are in your favor. If you're willing to like just put a little bit in, like, the chances of success are a lot higher than other businesses. So I feel like at this point we're kind of like beating a dead horse, but it's just one of those things that, like, if someone doesn't tell you, like, you're not going to think about it. Like, you're thinking about like a year down the road, 2 years down the road. Let someone like me who's here doing it, that the scariest part is in the beginning. If you can just get over that, it gets easier, and it could really change some of your lives, right? It's really changed mine. The freedom, I used to hate going to work. I've been out for a few weeks with a leg operation, and I'm like itching. Like, I hate not working. Like, obviously, like, I'm not getting paid. I don't have paid time off, but you know, I had emergency funds. Like, being out of work for a couple weeks, like, it's a non-issue. So I wasn't upset. I wasn't like annoyed that I wasn't working because I wasn't getting paid. I was annoyed that I wasn't working because I like working. I've had multiple jobs in the past, and I have never had a job where I would have been milking. If I was hurt right now with some of my old jobs, I'd be seeing like, how long can I stay out on disability for? That's just not who I am anymore. Like, I want to go to work. So it's really eye-opening. It'll really change a lot of your lives. Don't let fear get in the way. Don't be scared of failure. And again, like, it's not even a failure. It's just it didn't work. Like, you are not a failure because it didn't work. Get out there and try it. If it works, good for you, and run it. If not, find something else. The fact that you're even looking or considering about getting into something, it puts you miles away from the people that aren't. And most successful people have failed 100 times before they succeeded once. So get out there, try it, and that's all I got for you. That's all I got for you. Come back again. I got nothing else right now. See you guys later.